So Karen Perkins, we are live on social media, and we're just celebrating the premiere of How Thoughts Become Things. So we wanted to share this with everybody in our audience. I keep wanting to sneeze, so excuse me if I do. So start
Achoo.
talking about it.
Achoo. Well, first, I want to say, Becky, you're awesome. I love you. And I did finally share with her the other links for the giveaways that I had for you. And so that was completely 100% my oversight. And with everything else, I just went, oh, I forgot to send that off. So I apologize. But how thoughts become things. I think that I'm wonderful, so I'm not going to let that I forgot that hurt me. How's that? Does that work, Becky? No, seriously, how thoughts become things. This is not just what some people call the woo-woo, feel-good, touchy-feely. Now, this is honest to goodness, metaphysical, scientific. I mean, it's everything all wrapped together. And the thoughts is where everything begins. Every invention, everything we ever do, everything we ever buy starts with a single thought. Somewhere we went, oh, I think I'd like a new car. You don't just go out and buy a car. You have a thought that you want one. And, you have to take action, though, when you have these thoughts. And you have to be aware of the thoughts so that you can utilize the ones that are going to propel you forward. And you can understand the ones that are not and learn how to dismiss them. And or utilize them for good in another way. And so the thoughts also lead to your feelings, and there's a couple of camps on that one, but the thoughts flow through your amygdala. Little itty bitty, I've told you this before 100 times. That's my old standby. Little itty bitty amygdala, pinhead size in your brain. Thought flows through the amygdala, size its emotion and its physical reaction. So the emotion comes from that. And people say, well, you can't change your emotions. Okay, but you can change your thoughts. If you can change your thoughts, therefore you can change your emotions. Now, some people do need help medically. I'm not saying just think yourself to not needing meds, because in some cases that's just not possible. But in other cases it is. I mean, Becky, you heard, how many times have you heard about the placebo effect?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's an old standard, especially in war stories. They run out of medication there in the surgery camps or the medical camps, and they give half of them sugar pills and the other half the real medication, and they heal and get better in the same amount. And some had them and some didn't, because it's the power of the mind.
Right.
So
tell us about your journey with participating in the making of this movie, which is a sequel to The Secret, only this takes it much further. So how did you get involved, and what's your role?
Yeah.
All those good things.
Well, I'll tell you those good things, but I have to brag for a second first. You're like, she never answers my question right away. We, on day one, basically our system crashed. So anybody who had links and couldn't get in, the system crashed because we anticipated a great response. Did not anticipate as great of a great response, and we actually blew the numbers for The Secret out of the water. We just blew them out of the water. We just surpassed them, hands down. That being said, as they were getting ready to put together this particular one, they put together a couple of others since The Secret, but they talked about various things that we also need to have, like attitude and being grateful, and all of those things you must have, but every one of them starts with your thoughts. Yes. And they realized, it's time, we need to get to the nitty gritty, to where it all starts. And so some of the thought leaders that had been in The Secret and had been in a couple of these other movies said, yeah, we'd like to do it, but we want some additional experts that we didn't have to grow up with, and that comes from another angle. And so they went out and they found 3 or 4 of us, and they, looked and said, well, who's the expert in this area and that area? And thoughts, everything I do, I'm certified hypnotherapist. That all comes down to your thoughts. I do coaching and counseling. All of it comes into your thoughts. I have the living first class system, which is, first class is not necessarily all the money and sitting in the front of the plane. It's what makes you happy and what your core values are. But you have to think about what really it matters and then plan your life accordingly.
Right.
And again, all of that links back to thoughts. But yeah, no, they came and they saw me at another event and they said, "You're it. We've got to have you." And we went back and forth for a few months. And I finally thought, you know what? Actually, this would be a fun project to do. And so I've been working with them on it since about, early September, late August. So they're really excited for it. And I think they did a great job. It turned out really well. And if you haven't seen it yet, you need to go see it.
So in watching the movie, I put the link here for so they can at least watch the movie. With your offer, you have several other cool things that you are offering, and I'll put the links to those. It was too much to get all the links put together right at the moment, but I'll put the links later on.
I hear you. Actually, if they go into the link you give them, that last one you showed me, I think it's Dr. Karen Perkins / Becky Norwood was
Right.
the whole
Right
name.
there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you do that, you'll get to my site where we have the introductory offer. My baby, my favorite book of all of my books. Isn't that awful? You shouldn't have a favorite child.
Yes, but you do.
I do.
Especially when it comes to a book.
My book, Emotional Power, is my baby. I love that book. And I have it on audio, but I do not sell it anywhere for any reason. The only way you get that book is to be a client of mine, and it comes in one of your client packages. Well, for honoring this release, I have decided to go ahead and give my audiobook away as a free giveaway, which will never happen again, folks. And this is not a hurry, rush, and do it now thing. This is like giving my favorite child up to the neighbors that I don't know. I know that's a little over dramatic, isn't it? But no, I'm giving away my audiobook for Emotional Power, and I'm the one that read it. And it was done in a studio. So, I mean, it's not, me sitting on the back porch and all the dogs barking around me. And then once they get that, if they want to go to a watch party, and I strongly encourage all of you do, but for legal reasons, I have to tell you, you need to buy the movie, but it's like under $10. It's, I think, $9.95 now, isn't it, Becky? Mm-hmm. Yeah, $9.95. But you go and you get the movie at the $9.95 under Becky's link there. And then when you get the downloads for my book, we'll give you a link to say you want to join us for a watch party. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the movie, and it's a little over an hour long, and we're going to have a 2-hour get together where we'll watch a section of the movie, and then we'll have some discussion about it, and then another section and some discussion, so that it really makes sense as you go, and you can stop and share some things and maybe some other personal stories along the way. And we've got those scheduled 3 times a day for the next 3 days, and depending upon if the interest is as high as it was today, then we may go into a couple of days next week. But we just want to give everybody the opportunity to fully immerse themselves in this. It's a topic that everybody knows, but nobody talks about. And I think it's a fear. Because if I say I know I have to do what I think I should have to do, and I didn't think I should have to tell you that I should think that I should do it, so I don't know what to think. You're like, But we know we have to take action, and we know that it's what we think that is, that which we dwell on expands. And my old favorite, Becky, what you believe is true is true for you, even if it's not based on reality.
Right.
So, but that all comes down to your thoughts. Go ahead, Becky.
we know how powerful our thoughts are, and um, if you have stinking thinking, you usually attract the same kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Repeat, constantly repeating. And if you're having a tough time financially, if you live in fear, and if you constantly think about it, that's not going to make things better. That usually just attracts more of the same. And we all, hit on times when we have things come up that put that into us, because it's common to our society to feel those things.
Well, and initially that was our safeguard. Um, Way back when, our safeguard was that fear and doubt, because that's what kept us from being eaten by the saber-toothed lions or whatever. But we're beyond that. But what breaks my heart, and it breaks my heart in ways that you cannot imagine, is I see these children whose lives are being devastated, and in some cases destroyed, because of their parents stinking thinking, and not because they're abusive, but they don't have hope, they don't have trust, they don't have faith, they think nothing's ever going to work out. And so these poor kids look around and say, there's no hope. I had a neighbor kid not too long ago attempt suicide because he said, if this is what life is going to be like when I'm an adult, I don't want to be there.
Mm.
And it's not just us, it impacts everybody who watches us, who sees us. It impacts our children and their children. And if you can change the way you think now, your life will not only be better, but the lives of people around you, and your great great grandchildren will have a better life because you changed the way you thought and
It's a
the
ripple
actions that you
effect.
took.
It's a ripple effect, isn't it?
Hmm.
So we want to encourage everyone that's watching and or will watch this later on to make sure you pick up a copy of the movie. It's by following the link that's in the chat box there, and make sure you take the time to really contemplate and join in the watch party. Join and get the generous downloads of awesomeness that Karen has provided, and always think about the how important it is to guard every thought that we have, and to, if we're feeling, these are different times that we're living in right now. A
Hmm.
lot of change on a global basis, but if we take the time to really stop and think about the way we think, and give it attention, and guard that and
Yeah.
do whatever it takes to change those thoughts, because it can be done, and it's very healthy and beneficial to do so.
Yes, all the way around. It's healthy and beneficial. And like you said, you attract the same frequency, and your thoughts are nothing more than a frequency and an energy wave. And you put out bad frequency, bad energy waves, negative energy waves. That's what they're going to be drawn to and what's going to be drawn back. And so you want to change that. And honestly, your thoughts change your physical and chemical, biological, cellular makeup of your body. And think about this, Becky. I was studying this several years ago, and when the professor said it, I just kind of rolled my eyes, and then I thought about it. He said, your thoughts are so powerful that it can actually control machinery. A mere thought can control machinery. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then he had a guy come into the classroom who had two mechanical hands. Guess how they work? Completely off of you thinking what you want them to do. That's machinery. That man's thoughts controlled his machinery. And when he put it that
Hi, I want you
simplistic,
to move.
yeah, well, you think about it in terms that were that simplistic, yet really that powerful. I just went, if it can control machinery, what have I allowed it to control in my life? I didn't realize I was allowing it to control. because I chose to ignore my thoughts instead of to face them and embrace them and erase the ones that were not beneficial.
Mhm.
So,
Very good. Well, this is something that we all need to give consideration. I think most of us have heard this time and again. It's easy if you listen to a lot of the news. It's if you read things that are other than positive, and we really don't even know what the true news is really out there for us. So, watch what you listen to, watch what you watch, and pay close attention to the words you speak and those who you surround yourself with, and that's where the true power of our thoughts really lie.
I have to. I have so many wonderful mentors. Everybody should have several mentors. Um, I have a mentor whose daily affirmation, and I know I've told it a million times because it is such a powerful affirmation. That daily affirmation, if you do nothing but make that a daily affirmation you repeat a half dozen times every day, your life will be night and day different. But it is, I repel all negativeness of my own and of others. Isn't that beautiful? I repel all negativeness of my own and of others. I had a boss in an industry where he got all of the complaining customers. He's the buck stops here guy. And people would come storming into his office, and you knew there was going to be a bloodbath. And within 30 to 45 seconds, they were calm. And if they stayed for 5 minutes, they were laughing and giggling. And he didn't say or do anything. They just walk into his office and instantly calm down. And it was because he repelled all negativeness of his own and others. The other one, a great mentor told me, you're only as good as your worst friend, because everyone assumes you do the same things that they do. And by being around them, you have set precedents that you accept it. And you can't hang out at the garbage and not smell like trash.
That is very true.
And so that goes with choosing your friends and choosing your thoughts. And sometimes you just have to allow yourself to move in a different circle of friends. And I'm not saying throw your old friends away. I'm just saying choose new friends to hang out with more often.
That's right.
And see if you don't see a difference in your life, because they will think on a higher plane as you do.
Yes, indeed. Well, this is beautiful, and so I know we're going to continue on in these kind of conversations, and we're going to take them deeper as we go along. But take the time to open up and watch this movie, and then be prepared for some really cool conversations coming up. So thank you,
Yay!
Perkins. This has been awesome, and let's take the time to really, really honor ourselves by watching our thoughts. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Becky.
Oh, it's awesome.